Windy day at anchor, but Danny's off ashore to do some shopping and she's taking the paddleboard, so I hope we see her again.
It'll take me a while, I reckon.
Yeah, you're making good progress. Yeah, you can go to windward. Flying along. Power at the switch.
What are you fixing today, Captain Fix-It?
I am trying to fix the glow plugs on Bacchus. So we've got a little diesel engine and it has these plugs that go into it which preheat the engine and warm it up when you start it. And the glow plugs get turned on with a switch on the dashboard here, which you have to turn on before you start the engine, and it currently doesn't work. You turn the switch and the glow plugs don't go. So that happened when we were in Weymouth in the UK weeks ago. And so we've been hot wiring the glow plugs ever since. So I've rigged a wire that runs directly from a power source, and I go down to the engine bay before we start the engine and I just stick that bare wire onto the glow plug terminal and I run power to them that way. The glow plugs themselves work fine, but when you toggle the switch on the dashboard, they don't get any electricity. So I've got the multimeter and I'm just going through the circuit, testing each section of the circuit to see where the problem is, and it's all made a little bit more difficult by the fact that my knowledge of electricity is a little bit limited, and I've been tying myself in knots about how to measure voltage and how to measure current and which one I should be looking for. But I've now established that the power is reaching the switch and that the switch still works, so I know that the problem is somewhere between the switch and the glow plugs. So that's going to be my next job, is diving in to try and figure all that out. We've woken up to a pretty grey morning, but we've decided this is the day that we're going to try and head around Cape Finisterre and get a bit of south in the bank. The weather here in the last few days has really packed it in. It's pretty grey and it's wet and it's quite windy, so we're not really feeling the summer vibes here in Akarunya anymore. So the plan is to leave, and we've got a westerly wind. We have to head west at first, so it's going to be on the nose. It's not the ideal sailing conditions, but it looks gentle enough that we'll be safe, and we can hopefully make some ground to the west to Cape Finisterre, and then we'll go round the corner and we'll head down the coast to the south, where hopefully it's a bit warmer, a bit drier, a bit more fun. Yeah, so that's us. It's not a passage that I'm hugely excited for, but it's one that has to be done to keep us moving in the right direction. Go cruising, they said. See the world, they said. Go to Spain, the summer's lovely. Yeah, I'm pretty sorely disappointed by the Spanish summer at the moment. It is wet and lumpy and grey.
Where's the summer gone? Bring back summer! The sun's trying to peek out from up there behind us. And I'm getting wafts of fresh bread. Ashes put a batch on in the oven. We cook bread a lot, or bake bread a lot on Bacchus, but not really ever when we're on passage, so not sure how things are going in the oven, but I can smell it. It smells good.
What time it is. It's time for passage broccoli. I've had my first attempt today at making bread on passage. Well, cooking bread on passage. I actually made the dough the other day when we were at anchor, but it's just come out of the oven. Look, I'll be honest, it's not the best looking loaf of bread that I've baked. It's kind of a bit burnt and a bit misshapen, but it smells fantastic, and because it's a little bit wet and grey and lumpy out here at sea, it'll be a very welcome lunchtime treat. after a real slog down the coast from A Coruña, we've sailed into the most beautiful little easterly breeze, which has let us put the sails up, and we're just reaching along, and there's a very still quite a big swell, but it's really soft and gentle. It's just a roller, so it's fantastic. We left A Coruña yesterday morning, and it was raining, and it was really grey and foggy, and the sea was quite big. It was a little bit scary getting out of A Coruña, actually, and then the wind was right on the nose, so we had to beat. So you can see, here's the beginning of our track. You can see us beating our way along the north coast, and then at this point here we gave up because the wind was getting too light. We still had the big sea. We put the engine on, and we've just motored all the way around the point until about 15-20 minutes ago, when I put the sails up. So we've only got 22 miles to go before we get to Baiona, but it looks like we're going to have a gorgeous sail in there. So it's a really nice thing to have at the start of a new day. Really happy with that.
What happens when you've been sailing all night and your brain stops working. Ashley just made me a coffee, which is very lovely of him, but he's made it with salt water, so it's not drinkable. Hi, coffee! I know, I put dolphins in all of our vlogs, but we're just so lucky, and they're so cool, and we love them.
We made it. We made it around Cape Finisterre and out of the North Rias, and we got to Baiona, and it feels like we just might have caught that last week of summer that we were talking about. It was grey and raining when we left, and now it's blue skies and it's sunshine 120 odd miles further south. So Bacchus is looking like a Chinese laundry while we take advantage of the sunshine to try and dry everything out that was getting quite damp. And we're enjoying a couple of Amsterdam's finest.
We found the summer again. Woohoo! Tonight we're in Baiona. We arrived here just after lunch today, so we're going to go check out the town, get ourselves some Spanish cuisine. This is probably our last Spanish town. So
so when we leave Baiona, we're quite close to the Spain-Portugal border, so when we leave here we'll head south and cross the border into Portugal. The goose barnacles, apparently they're fantastic. It's like the sea. So this is Baiona, at the very bottom of the Rias, and its great claim to fame is that this is where Christopher Columbus landed when he arrived back from the Americas. This was the first place in Europe to get news of the land across the other side of the Atlantic, and they've got a replica of his boat, the Pinta, moored down there, which we might go and check out later on.
But right now we're just exploring this really cool fort right up on the coastline there, so it's pretty old, and we're going to go for a wander around. they could smell the bilge. It was a nauseating smell, but actually they found that quite peaceful because it meant that they weren't taking on water.
So if the smell wasn't there, it meant that they were getting fresh water into the bilge.
Yeah, you're in trouble. So they liked the smell of foul water. Hi, Steve. Dinghy theft can be a problem for cruisers, so we had a handy oar lock made for Pi Waka Waka to help keep her safe.
We're really looking forward to getting ashore and spending a bit more time on land actually as we head down the coast here. So our plan once we leave Baiona is to stop at Viana do Castelo in Portugal, and we're actually going to jump off Bacchus there and leave her in the marina, and we're going to go and walk part of the Camino de Santiago, which is a long distance, a network of long distance walking trails that all end up in Santiago de Compostela, which is a city in the north of Spain.
We're actually on part of the Camino at the moment, but it's not the part that we're going to be walking. So there's two trails that leave from where we're going. One's slightly more inland and the other one follows the coast along, which is quite new. So we're doing a little part of that today, but we'll do the more inland route in a couple of days.
Yeah, and weather's looking pretty nice for a departure tomorrow to head down the coast to Viana. So we eat pretty well on Bacchus, but sometimes you need to come ashore and get into whatever it is that the locals are serving. So today we're getting into some calamari and some fantastic looking tostadas over here, washed down with some nice local red wine. Yeah.
So after a few great days in Baiona, we finally left Spain and headed to Portugal.
Another day, another country. We're just crossing the border between Spain and Portugal. So just inside us is the River Minho, which separates two countries. And we're going to head down to a spot called Viana do Castelo, which is a Portuguese town. And we'll park up there for a little bit.
Are you ready?
You ready?
Here we go. I hope that's the Portuguese flag.
Viva la Portugal! So we've made it into Viana do Castelo in Portugal. So a new country for us, which is pretty exciting. Had an exciting time parking in the marina. I recently repaired one of the stanchions on Bacchus because it was bent. Let's just say that I shouldn't have bothered because it's bent again. Same bloody stanchion. But that's alright, there's no scratches to the paintwork, so that's all good.
Now, you've heard of the Eiffel Tower, I bet you have, but have you heard of the Eiffel Bridge?
We're right next to the Eiffel Bridge over here, designed by Gustav himself, painted Volvo green, just like our engine. So
we're
nice.
in the Paris of Portugal right now.
Something like that. Yeah, so we're going to actually leave Bacchus here for a few days, and our plan is to jump off and go and walk some of the Camino de Santiago.
Woo!
Yeah.